Hey guys, this is Goku, and on this channel we talk about poker and ideas that can improve your life. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and click the subscribe button because I'll be honored to have you here. Today we're gonna jump into another GTO trainer session. We're playing the spot big blind call versus button open. Last time our session ended up prematurely because there were some problems with the GTO trainer. So this session will be a special one because we'll play 29 hands instead of 25. So let's jump right into it. Okay, for the first hand, we've got ace 4 off on a deuce 7-3. We're gonna check. And we're gonna call the third pot bet. Another 3 on the turn, 3 of hearts. We're gonna check again. And we should be doing a little bit of betting here, around 6%. Villain checks behind. We hit a 4 on the river. And should we bet at this, or should we just call, or should we just check? I think it's better to just check because we can get him to bet. But actually, ideally we would bet 7 here 25% of the time and check 75% of the time. Okay, 7-5 of clubs on a 7-8-8. We're gonna check. Villain checks behind. 9 of diamonds on the turn. Should we bet at this? Or should we just check? I think we should check most of the time. 73% we're checking here. And 26% we're betting, and I think we're betting 3/4. If we're betting... Now the villain bets third pot. We're gonna call this, I think, here. Yep, 100% it should just be a call. And a queen of diamonds on the river, we're gonna check. And I think call the overbet with our hand. Yeah, I think we're calling here. And it's not a good call. It should be a fold, 99.5% of the time. As we can see, calling here is medium EV loss, but just 0.5% of the strategy. So the solver's mostly folding here. Perhaps it's because of the queen of diamonds on the river, because it's bringing up both the flush and the straight. We can see that the villain was actually bluffing, but he probably doesn't have enough of bluffs that totally missed like this one for us to justify calling here with the 7. Okay, 6-10 off on an ace 7 king. We're gonna check and fold. 9 queen suited on a 6-8 queen. We're gonna check and go for a check raise. And we shouldn't actually go for a check raise here. We should just call 99.96% of the time. The remainder of the strategy is a check raise, but it's super rare play, as you can see, and the EV loss is small, but yeah, the villain re-raises all in and you have to call, obviously. And let's see how the board runs out. And the villain's got the nut flush draw, so he made it. And we made it as well, but yeah. 8 deuce of diamonds on a 9-7-10. We're gonna check. Villain checks behind. Deuce on the turn. Are we betting here or are we checking again? Maybe we should bet sometimes. Okay, we should bet 58% of the time, but not 3/4 pot bet. It's a small EV loss, but just 0.69% of the strategy. So are we betting here a third of the pot, or are we over betting here? Perhaps over betting. I don't really know. It's interesting. King 3 off on an ace 7-5. We're checking and folding. Surprisingly, the solver is actually calling here 44% of the time and folding 35% of the time. So it's also doing a bit of raising. With the King 3, perhaps it's because of the King of Hearts, I would assume. Okay, let's go to the next one. Jack 3 suited on a 3-9-5. We're gonna check. And call the bet 5 or fold. I would usually fold here, but since I've been playing the spot, I've realized that the solver's calling here a lot. Okay, it's calling here 40.5% of the time and folding 60. So it is a good thing to fold here. 6 out of 10 times. Now we're checking, of course, on the 4 of diamonds. Villain checks behind, and there's a King of Spades on the river, and we're gonna check again. And surprisingly, the solver likes overbetting here on this river. 92% of the time. Checking is small EV loss, but just 2% of the strategy. So the other 5% is betting less than overbet. We gotta get used to this because we need to use this in our game for sure. Our game on the big blind seems to be much weaker than the solvers, so this is good that we're learning all this. Yeah. Queen 5 off on a 6 Jack 9. We're gonna check and fold to the bet. King 3 off on a deuce 10 queen is a check. Villain checks behind. Deuce on the turn. Are we trying to take this pot, take a stop? I think so, with a third pot bet. Yeah, should be call or should be a check. 77% of the time. 14% it should be a bet too, and the other 10% should be a bigger bet. Villain called. We have a 7 of diamonds on the river. And do we take a stop at this? I think so. But for how much? I think 3/4. Yeah. Villain folds. Jack 5 off on an 8 ace 9 is a check and fold. Queen 6 suited on a 7-3-10 is a check. Villain checks as well. 8 of hearts on the turn. Do we take a stab with our hand here? I don't think so. I think we're checking. Okay, we do take a stab 44% of the time. Another 7 on the river. Now do we bet or do we check behind? Or do we check for the third time? I think we overbet here. Yeah, that's the ideal action. Played 40% of the time. Villain folds. Pocket 3s on a 10 deuce 5. We're gonna check and call the bet. 9 of hearts on the turn. We're gonna check. Villain checks behind. 7 of clubs on the river means we're probably overbetting. We shouldn't be. We should just check 96% of the time. That is actually super weird. So the solver thinks pocket 3s are good enough here to check. Interesting. Yeah, overbetting is bad. It's -1 BB of EV loss and almost never played here by the solver. So with pocket 3s on such a run out, you should just check on the river. Jack 4 of diamonds on a queen king ace. We're gonna check and fold. 4-5 of hearts on an 8 jack king is a check. Villain checks behind. 9 of spades on the turn. We're gonna try and bet. And we shouldn't, we should just check. 7 of hearts on the river, we're giving up on the hand. So the solver doesn't think it's good to try and steal the pot. Try to take a stop with our hand here on the river. Okay. Ace 5 off on a 10-9 king. We're gonna check. And call one bet, I think, with ace high. Nope, it's a bad play. Very, very bad. Minus 1.5. Okay, we're checking on the turn. And we're folding. 7 jack off on a 9-3 deuce. We're gonna check. And fold. King 6 of spades on a deuce 9 jack. We're gonna check and call. 9 of hearts on the turn. We're gonna check again. Okay, the solver's just doing 22% of checking here. So it's actually much, much better to lead on this 9. And a 4 of hearts on the river, I think means we're gonna try and take a stop at this spot with an overbet. And we should be checking 62% of the time and betting 38%, but not overbetting. Overbetting is just 2.2% of the strategy. Small EV loss. So I think it's bet 3/4 here. More like it. But the villain re-raises all in, so we're folding. King 7 of spades on a 10-10-9. Gonna check. Are we calling here? I think we're folding, right? Okay, it's a raise to 8.5. 78% of the time with King 7 suited. Folding is small EV loss, but just 1% of the strategy. Interesting. Queen 7 off on a 9-7-6. We're checking. Villain checks behind. Jack of hearts on the turn. I think we're betting 3/4 here. We're not. Should be checking 77% of the time. And if we're betting, not betting 3/4, but rather betting 1/3, I think. Or over betting, I don't know. King of hearts on the river. Now, do we bet or do we check? This is the question. I think what I've learned so far is that we should probably just check here. But yeah, we're not gonna know because it's a rare strategy. The solver now, the villain now overbets, and we're gonna shove. And villain folds. King 4 off on a 5-8 deuce. We're checking. Villain checks as well. Another 5 on the turn. Are we betting at this card? I think so. I'm gonna try it. Yeah, we should still be checking 89% of the time. And the 9 of hearts on the river means we probably should continue betting. Probably we have to continue betting. And overbet or 3/4? I think 3/4. And again, it's a check. I don't understand it. 94% of the time. We should give up on this. It's weird for me because sometimes the solver is really pushing hands like this with no equity. But sometimes it's just giving up, and a lot of the time Yeah. We got a fold, of course, because the villain re-raises all in. But that was interesting, yeah. 7-8 off on a Jack 7 ace. We're gonna check and call. Another ace on the turn. Are we sometimes betting here? I'm gonna check. No, we're not betting here at all. Should be just checking, and we're folding to the bet. And we're folding here only 66.5% of the time. King 10 off on a King Jack 3. We're checking and calling the bet. Okay, now calling. We should be raising here. 99.5. Just calling is fine EV-wise, but a small part of the strategy. 6 of diamonds on the turn. We're gonna check. We're not gonna know what happens here because it's a rare tree. Ace on the river, and we're gonna try and bet 3/4. And the villain folds. Ace 7 off on an 8 ace queen. We're checking and raising this time, I guess. See, it doesn't make sense to me. Last hand, it was a 90% check raise. And here, a similar spot, although with an ace instead of a king. And check raise is just 0.4% of the strategy and a small EV loss. I guess it's because the villain's got many more aces than kings in his range. But still. Ace 5 off on a King Jack deuce. We're checking. Villain checks behind. We hit an ace on the turn. I think we check again, but just 56% of the time. And maybe we raise now, or do we just call? Let's try raising. Okay, we call mostly 86% of the time, but raising is also fine, but 11% of the strategy. Villain folds. Ace 9 of hearts on a deuce 8 deuce. We're gonna check. Villain bets 2. Is this a spot that we raise? Maybe, but I'm gonna try and calling. No, it's not a spot that we raise, just a call. 8 of hearts on the turn. We're gonna check. And the solver surprisingly is doing very little checking here. Mostly it's betting. Villain now bets 7, so 3/4. We're gonna call. We should be calling. Okay, and a jack on the river means we're checking. And the villain checks behind. Cool. Okay, we've played our 25 hands for the day, so let's play another 4. 10 deuce of diamonds on a 4-10-8. We're gonna check. Villain checks behind. Jack on the turn. Should we bet at this or check again? I think I'm gonna try and checking again. Okay, checking is the ideal play, but only 26% of the strategy. And an 8 of spades on the river means we're gonna try and bet 3/4. And it should be a donk bet, 70% of the time, rather. Okay, villain folds. 3 more hands. King 8 off on a deuce 9-3. We're gonna check. And fold. 2 more. 10-8 off on an ace deuce 5. We're checking and folding. And 1 more hand. 7-9 of spades on a 3 deuce 6. We're gonna check and fold. And the last hand, 6-8 off on a 7-4-4. We're gonna check and fold again. So, Okay, it's not a fault here. It should rather be a call. I mean, yeah, we have a gut shot. Yeah. Oh well, we made a mistake on our last hand. That happens. But overall, it was a good session, I think. We had 1, 2, 3 mistakes over 1 BBs of EV loss. But other than that, we played quite well. So yeah, we can see that the frequencies, our aggression is just too high. We should be checking or calling more instead of betting or raising. But yeah, we gotta get used to that, I think. Yeah, this was an okay session. Hopefully we can get some better results in the future, because so far it's not looking great. We've got minus 29 BBs of EV loss, so that's not ideal, far from ideal. But hopefully we can bring this down to around minus 20 in the next 400 hands. And as we can see, we play one more hand than we should, but whatever. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you stayed this long, please leave a comment GTO or ask any question you might have. Subscribe if you're not already. Leave a thumbs up if you like this video, and check out some of the things that you can read more about in the description of this video. For example, the previous GTO sessions that we've played with this spot or with other spots. This is a great tool to learn a bit of GTO, to get your game fixed at least a bit. As you can see, we're fixing a lot of our big blind calling versus button leaks, and that's great. Yeah, that's what you should do too. Well, thank you for watching once again, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Do you want to learn how to play PLO? Are you a beginner player who's never played Omaha before? Do you want to learn how to crush casual players easily? If so, this course is perfect for you. It's a crash course on Pot Limit Omaha dedicated for beginner players. You will learn all the fundamentals of PLO. You will learn what hands to play, when to play them, and how to play them. You will learn the basic strategies that allow you to be a winning player at your home games or microstakes online. If you want to learn PLO quickly and easily, get this course now at gokupoker.com.